Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Mildly Medieval. I'm Manon.
I'm Brian.
I have a degree in German and comparative literature.
I do not.
So I decided that I'm going to tell Brian some of my favorite stories, mostly medieval, some folklore, some drama, some miscellaneous, and he's going to listen to them.
And bear in mind that I have no idea what these stories are, and just like you, I don't know what I'm going to say either. So this is as brand new to me as it is to you, or maybe it's not brand new to you, and you're just here to listen to somebody who doesn't know anything about a story talk about a story.
All right. So I'm a huge nerd, so I'm a pretty big fan of many medieval writers. So today I'm bringing in a drama by one of my favorites. Her name is Hrotsvit of Gandersheim.
Hrotsvit of Gandersheim.
Close. That's
Yeah!
good.
All right, cool.
So she was a nun.
Off to a strong start.
I am a pretty big fan of quite a few nuns. My favorite is Hildegard of Bingen, but Hrotsvit of Gandersheim is probably number 2, which is a pretty high honor for me.
So would you say that Bingen was pretty banging?
Yeah, I would actually.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So Hrotsvit of Gandersheim, we don't know a whole lot about her, but she lived sometime around like the 13th century, no, 14th century, 1300s, a while ago. And
Not super current.
not super current. She definitely was not on Instagram, but
She could be.
should be. Hrotsvit is probably like a pen name. I think it means something like strong voice, something like that. And her whole thing, her hobby, was that she liked ancient Roman, like classical dramas. She
Okay.
thought that the quality was excellent. She didn't like all the heathenism.
Oh my.
Yeah. So she was
The
basically like a medieval Christian fanfic writer.
Oh man. Okay.
She kind of took either the tropes or the characters or even the plot of various stories, whether they were biblical or whether they came from classical literature or whether it was just like kind of the energy of those stories.
Big Roman energy.
Big Roman energy.
Okay.
And twisted them so that they had more of a pious message to them.
But of course.
Yeah, so this was written by a nun. It's a drama that would have been performed by nuns for other nuns.
All nuns?
Pretty much all nuns.
For nuns by nuns?
Yes.
Nice.
Maybe shared in some other communities as well. But as far as we know, this was mostly spread within abbeys or nunneries. And, you know, as you can imagine, it's written by nuns, written for nuns, very Christian. It's going to be a very pious, wholesome story.
Okay.
Definitely, you know, Christian values. It's in Christian values. It's a real Catholic story. So
Okay.
let's get started.
I am not prepared for this, but
No, you're not?
we can do it anyway.
Okay. So I'd like to introduce you to our main character.
Okay.
His name, I can't pronounce it. It's either Calimachus or Calimachus.
Kalima.
Something like that. I'm going to call him Cal.
Okay.
He is a dude, medieval dude. His main issue in life is that he's got a thing for this girl named Drusiana, and she's married.
Bummer.
Yeah, so he wants to get with Druzy. Druzy's got a husband. So he's telling his friends about how, like, he's got a problem. The problem is love. And they're like, who do you love? And he's like, Drusiana.
Druzy, baby.
Druzy. And they're like, dude, first of all, she's married. Second of all, she is a Christian. And third, she won't even sleep with her own husband. She is so pious that she won't even, like, get busy with the dude that she is lawfully wedded to.
Do you remember the story of the Christian couple when they didn't have sex until even after marriage, and the the lady would spritz herself in the face with water and the dude would suck on a potato.
I think Cal needs a potato.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So, basically, his friends try to talk him out of it, but he's like, nah, I'm going to get this girl. So his plan is basically to flatter her and flirt with her until she gets into it, and then, you know, he thinks he can do it. He thinks that he is hot enough that he can convince her to break her vows to her husband in Christ.
Ugh, typical guy. Am I right, ladies?
Typical dude. So he, you know, brings her aside, they talk, and he's like, I love you, you're beautiful, and she's like, not my problem. And he's like, well, come on, like,
look
hey.
at me, man. Yeah.
And Druzy doesn't really know how to handle this. She doesn't want to sleep with him. She's not going to do that. That would be sin. However, she also doesn't want to deal with the social repercussions of having to actually reject him. So she prays, as one does, that she can just be struck dead so she doesn't have to deal with it.
Have you ever not wanted to reply to a text message so much that you prayed to God to die?
I've pretty much been there. I think this is kind of like the original ghosting. Okay. Except instead of like just not answering a text, you just like become a ghost.
Oh no.
So Cal is ghosted, literally. Except Drusiana's husband, Andronicus, or Andy, as I'm going to call him, he heard Drusiana's prayer, so he knows what's going on. He was aware that Cal was after his girl, and he heard Drusiana asking for death. So Andy's really upset because his wife's dead, and he knows why. He is an extremely level-headed dude, considering that not only is Cal going after his wife, and she died because of it, he's not that vengeful. So he does some praying and stuff.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, and he calls for St. John.
Okay. Which St. John?
There's more than one.
Oh, there's so many. Anyway.
I'm not Catholic, so I'm kind of just like, you know, I'm learning as I go with all of these God stuff. So he calls on St. John, apparently one of many St. Johns. I don't know which one, but St. John kind of steps in to walk Andy through his grief, sort of be like the go-between between John and God. And they do a lot of praying, and they, you know, kind of just talk about it, and they decide to put Drusiana in this tomb nearby. Okay. And then they need someone to guard it, so Andy's got a servant, an overseer. His name is Fortunatus. I'm going to call him 40. 40. And he's in charge.
How old is he?
I don't...
I'm sorry. Continue.
So, Fortunatus is in charge of guarding Drusiana's corpse. So, Cal.
Good old Cal. Our boy
Cal. Hears about Drusiana's death and finds out that she's in the tomb guarded by Fortunatus. And he goes to Fortunatus and is like, dude, I'm still in love with her.
Oh no.
And 40 is like, how can I be of assistance? And Cal's like,
no.
Can I see her?
No.
And 40's like, might, you know, cost you something. And Cal's like, you can have all my money? So let me in. And 40 is like, he's down to help. He's a bro. He's really selling him on this. He's like, yeah, I mean, she didn't die of any kind of gross disease, so she's like in good shape. Like, you know, her face still looks good. Her limbs haven't deteriorated. She hasn't, you know, started to decompose yet. Like, she looks pretty good. And Cal's like, sweet, let's go.
So, sounds like 40 kind of just wants to watch.
He might be into that. Can't confirm or deny. But he's...
Well, written by a nun. Wholesome Christian content. Values.
Wholesome Christian content.
Wholesome Christian content. All right.
This is peak Catholicism.
Peak Catholicism.
So, 40 lets him in, and he, like, wants to do stuff to Druzy. But...
there's a but here.
There's a but.
No,
It is...
Not that way. Not that way.
Cal wanted there to be a different kind of but.
Yeah. Let's just move past the necrophilia for a second.
Okay. So, they are... intervened by a snake. And usually in biblical lore, the snake is what, like, tempts you and convinces you to do the bad stuff. But in this case, the real snake is 40, because the snake kills 40 and Cal so that they don't do any bad stuff.
Or snakes alternately hypnotize you on behalf of an evil tiger.
Oh.
If you've never seen The Jungle Book.
That's not part of the...
Depends on who you ask. I think Christopher Walken was pretty good as the orangutan.
But that's not biblical.
I'm just saying.
Wasn't The Jungle Book written by that racist dude? Kipling, yes. He's a... he was a colonialist.
Oh, no.
So anyway... they...
Also, shout out to Tiger King Joe Exotic. He probably had a snake.
I'm pretty sure he had a snake. Anyway. No more viral Netflix shows.
I'm sorry.
So they get killed by a snake. And then John and Andy show up. And they're like... You know, trying to come and just, like, pray for Drusiana's soul and stuff. But they find some dead dudes right next to her. And
wrapped in a snake, nonetheless.
Yep. And they're like, OMG. And then God shows up in the likeness of a man. Because obviously you're not supposed to see what God looks like. But he comes in the form of a man to talk to them a little bit. And he decides that he's going to resurrect Drusiana and the dude next to her. So that his name can be glorified by them.
Strangely wholesome.
Mm-hmm. So they start with Cal, and Cal, you know, comes up to talk. Before that, John and Andy kind of like piece together everything that happened, and then they bring Cal back to kind of speak for himself. And Cal basically said, like, yeah, I was definitely gonna do something pretty messed up, but it was because this heathen servant tried to talk me into it.
I just like the image of the two of them, and maybe also God with a magnifying glass and like the Sherlock Holmes hat, just kind of scurrying around and going, "There's a dead body here."
Couple, actually.
Yeah.
Wrapped in a snake.
Wrapped in a snake. Mm-hmm. Bummer.
Yeah. So they bring back Cal. He explains that it's all 40's fault. He totally would never have done it without him. Not that he wasn't totally, like, you know, ready with his wallet to pay as soon as the offer was made. But Cal has completely repented. He is a Jesus freak now. He is all in.
He has been reborn.
He is reborn. I'm pretty sure he actually gets canonized in this story. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he's like all in.
Saint Cal.
Saint Calimachus, I guess. And so that works out for him. Then they bring back Druzy. And Druzy's like, you know, praise him.
Praise Jesus.
Praise Jesus. And she's cool, but she kind of feels like maybe they shouldn't leave 40 out.
I mean, at this point, like, if you're throwing around resurrections, you might as well give one to the guy. He was just a servant.
She's very forgiving. She's totally okay with Cal. No hard feelings. And now...
A little weird, but that's fine.
Christians forgive. So she's real Christian. So she says they should bring 40 back too. And everybody's like, I don't want to touch him. So then God bestows the power to Drusiana so that she can resurrect 40 if she wants to. Which she does. Because she's the real saint here. And 40 comes back. And awkward thing is that 40 is seriously a heathen. He is so not pious that he would actually rather just go back to being dead than deal with the fact that he was resurrected by the grace of God.
So he's a millennial. He
Yeah.
just wants to be dead.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So they are like, really, dude? And his snake bite just swells back up and he dies again.
Oh, bummer.
He goes straight back to hell. There's a little bit of a description about what's going on with him there. He is apparently the son of Satan. He's a real bad dude.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And
you couldn't have brought that up at any other time. Like, no foreshadowing or anything.
St. John just kind of says it. He's like, oh yeah, that dude was totes Satan's
was totally
offspring.
born a demon baby. Well, all right.
So, basically, it kind of wraps up with Andy and John just kind of talking over everything that happened. They're sort of our, like, kind of the reasonable ones here. The true Christian men. Obviously, Drusiana's the most pious of them all.
However, she's a woman.
She's a woman, so she doesn't get to talk.
The 1300s, so...
Written by a woman, but okay.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves now.
Mm-hmm. And they basically come to the conclusion that it's bad to do bad stuff, but it's worse to, like, let someone else do bad stuff. So, like, Cal almost did something bad, but 40 needed to make some money, so he should rot in hell.
Guilt by omission, if you will.
It's basically like, poor people should die.
Oh, that doesn't seem familiar at all.
Nah. Tale as old as time. So that's the story.
All right.
Of the resurrection of Drusiana and Calimachus.
It just takes me a little bit to wrap my head around, like, there's this nun, like, sitting in a nunnery in, like, the 1300s, just, like, writing this away and then being like, I know what I need. Corpse banging.
Yeah, I mean, so most likely, obviously, I could have done more research for this, but I didn't. So I believe that this is probably one of her stories that is based on the plot of either a Roman drama, some kind of biblical story, some kind of folktale, something like that. So I don't think the base plot is hers. I think she kind of fan-fictioned it into a story with a very, very prescriptive Christian moral.
It does have kind of a Deus Ex Machina with God literally coming down and just being like, "What's up, guys?" Mm-hmm. So I can see where that's where that trope comes from, you know?
Yeah, she kind of just took the story and she made it work for her message.
Gotcha.
She really she thought that the drama of her time was poor quality. And
I mean, because this is a high quality work, let's be honest.
This is excellent. This is riveting. Like, I would see this movie. I would see this play.
Yeah, I can definitely see Leonardo DiCaprio being one of these people.
I feel like Leo's a cow. Because I think he can get that, like, tortured but in love. It kind of reminds me of him in
Romeo and Juliet? Yeah, I was about to say.
Exactly.
He did do that.
Maybe
Matt Damon could also be in this one. Bring the Brat Pack back together, you know?
I feel like Matt Damon...
Adrian Brody, maybe?
Would be 40.
Yeah, see? Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Dreamcast.
Oh, yeah.
Originally, they would have all been played by nuns.
Which is the funniest bit to me.
It's fabulous.
For nuns by nuns.
Mm-hmm. So that's some wholesome Christian content for you today. I hope you enjoyed this little peek into medieval literature and culture.
In mostly medieval.
Mildly medieval. He named this.
My brain don't work so good. All right.
And that's why I'm the one who does the research.
So, in conclusion, stay safe out there. Stay home.
Unless you're watching from the future and the quarantine is ever lifted, in which case, good.
Unless it hasn't been, in which case, don't tell us. We don't want to know.
No.
So.
Thanks for quarantining with us.
Yeah.
Medieval literature is lit. Have a good day.
Really?
Literature is lit.